All right, hello everyone. I see a few people tuning in. We're just actually waiting here on our panelist, Francis. He was actually on a very tight time frame, so he has his work starting in about 10 minutes. So I do hope he's going to be able to jump on, but just hold tight here for another few moments. And oh, here we go. Here he is. Hi, Francis.
Hello.
Perfect. So I know that we're on a tight time schedule here, so I'll just very quickly do a quick introduction. My name is Anna. I work with OzTREKK's outreach team. And we have Francis here. So Francis, you are a physio grad from Flinders University, but I want to hand it over to you to give a quick introduction to those who are here of yourself and your time at Flinders and what you're doing now.
Yeah, sounds good. Hi guys, my name is Francis. I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario. I studied at the University of Toronto, did my bachelor's of kinesiology there. And I just graduated from the Flinders University Master's of Physiotherapy program. And I started work 2 months ago now as a physiotherapist here in Adelaide. So that's a little bit about my journey. Yeah, and I'm loving life here in Australia. That's why I decided to stay a year or two, who knows really, I guess. For the time being, I'll be staying here in Adelaide. Do you guys have any questions or, yeah, any questions?
Perfect, yeah. I would say, for those that do have questions, feel free to type those into the public chat there or the Q&A, and Francis, you can get to those. And I'm just thinking, based on this is kind of a focus on life in Australia and what it's like actually, living where you're living. And I'm wondering if you can just touch on some of the things that you found to be new or interesting about Australia that perhaps were unexpected before you arrived a few years back.
Yeah, so I moved here February 2019, so just about 2 years ago now. And coming from a big city like Toronto, where it's always busy, it's a fast-paced life, I had to adjust to a slower pace of life here in Adelaide. Stores and shops here close early, like 5 p.m., where I'm used to like shops and life still going on at 9 p.m. That's definitely an adjustment for me. People here get up earlier, so life here is a lot, start earlier and early, and then enjoy like simple things in life, going to the beach, enjoying watching the sunsets. Definitely something that I enjoy doing here in Adelaide.
Francis, there's actually a question here from Kate, who's from near Toronto as well. And she's wondering what Adelaide is like in comparison to Toronto. She's a little bit wary of the smaller size of Adelaide compared to, say, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, that type of thing.
So I'd say Adelaide is definitely it's like a smaller city, like a really big town. It has a population of about 1.2 million. The campus itself is just south of the city, and you'll probably be a little bit away from the hustle and bustle of the city in Adelaide, in the CBD. So the question is, I'm wary of going there because of the smaller size. I think you'll like it. I think as a student, you'll be focused on your studies. I think there's not much distractions per se, and you'll be able to just really hone down on your studies, especially if you're doing like a master's program that's a lot more time consuming or a lot more work demand, has more work demand. I do like the smaller city. I had to adjust to it, but yeah, I like it. So something to adjust to, but you'll get used to it eventually.
Just to
Another question is, have you done any traveling during your study? Yeah, go ahead.
No, Francis, I was going to read that exact same question, so you're ahead of me. I'll let you do it.
The question is, have I done any traveling during my studies? Thankfully, I got here in 2019, where I guess that was pre-COVID time. So during my studies in 2019, especially during the breaks, I was able to travel. So I was able to go to Sydney during a long weekend. I was able to go to Melbourne during the mid-semester break, and just some road trips around South Australia. South Australia is a beautiful state. There's a lot of nice beaches around, and they're about 2 hours away from Adelaide. There's some that's about 3 hours. So definitely a good time, like when you have downtime, when it's the mid-semester break, to just be able to travel road trips around South Australia. Another question here is, do I want to come back to Canada? And did the factor into the decision for Flinders? And yeah, of course, I do want to go back to Canada eventually. I figured that it'd be nice to get a head start on my career here as a physio while I'm all registered. There was a lot of job opportunities right off the bat. So I jumped on that, and the process to go back to Canada will take a little bit longer than here in Australia after graduating with a physio degree. So I figured get my experience, get a lot of hands-on experience working in a clinic, working in, you can also work in a hospital setting, and hopefully that will transition into a career back in Canada. So the long-term plan will definitely go back to Canada, be able to practice there as well as a physio.
Francis, another question here just about culture shock. So moving from Canada to Australia, did you experience any culture shock?
I figured, I find that everyone here in Australia is very friendly. Definitely, everyone's so chill. Everyone's, I think just the people, you get to meet different cultures. As an international student, you also get exposed to other international students from different parts of the world. Flinders specifically has a lot of students from Southeast Asia, and you also get to meet other cultures outside of Australia, and then also the local Australians culture. I think I mentioned it earlier, the culture shock was just the slower pace of life. I think that was pretty much the biggest culture shock for me. And yeah. I'm just showing you guys a little bit of campus. I'm just in the plaza in the main campus. That's kind of like the main hub. And then if I can turn the camera, just down there is like the coast. So it's about a 5-kilometer drive or 10-minute drive towards the beach. Be a good time after studying to, head down to the beach, enjoy like a little bit of watching the sunset as a downtime as you're like after studying. Any other questions?
I think we're at the end there. I know that you probably have to go soon, Francis. I just, one other question that jumps to mind is for you in terms of where you decided to live. Did you live off campus, on campus? What has that been like?
What's that been like? So my first year, I lived on campus. So there's two options to living on campus. There's the village, which is about there's like townhouses, a 5-person unit, and a 3-person unit. And there's also the hall, which is more like a dormitory style. I figured the first year to meet friends, especially coming here, not knowing anyone, it'd be a good opportunity to meet people through on-campus living. So I lived on campus for 9 months, which is the contract for that. And then in my second year, being much more comfortable, being able to have, gaining more friends, I moved out of campus and I moved closer to the beach, which is nice, and closer to shops. And I think there's a good balance that I got to experience living on campus and living off campus. It's probably cheaper to live off campus depending on your budget, slightly cheaper than living on campus. But with on campus, it's a 5-minute walk to class, 5-minute walk to the library. So it's convenient living on campus. With living off campus, you feel like you're living more of like a local, like you feel like you're more of a local because you're not always in that context of being on campus. So I did enjoy both. And now I'm living off campus because I'm not a student anymore. So yeah.
Perfect. Again, we have, Francis, I don't know what your time is like, so if you need to go, you just jet off.
Yeah, no worries. I think a few questions that you asked me via email was like, did I pick up any hobbies or while studying abroad? I think I wouldn't necessarily say hobbies that uh, I guess like I picked up a few being close to the beach. I like stand-up paddling. A perfect day, like a weekend morning, would be like going for a run by the beach and then quick dip if it's when the summertime when it's a little bit warmer. Um, and then have a cup of coffee. Coffee here in Australia is really good. Definitely known for coffee culture here. And I definitely miss Tim Hortons Canadian coffee, but yeah, I think I've grown to love Australian coffee. So I think that's would be a day in the life, and I picked up the hobby of like stand-up paddling, more water sports, being close to the beach.
Francis, what about the wildlife? I hear some birds chirping in the background. Have you encountered any interesting, strange critters? That's actually a question I, on at least at OzTREKK, we get all the time. What's it like? Are there
Yeah.
spiders?
So living on campus, we're closer to like a gorge. The campus is close to gorge, so there's a lot more wildlife there, and there may be some snake sightings on campus and or living on campus. So be wary of that. There definitely are spiders. Thankfully, I haven't seen like the big ones like huntsman spiders, but knock on wood, I don't see anytime soon. There are koalas on campus. If you get a keen eye, you'll definitely see some koalas and pet some kangaroos. So, I guess creatures that, and definitely some birds will wake you up early in the morning.
Definitely sounds nice in your background, very relaxing.
Yeah, it's just beautiful campus. It's just about lunchtime here, so um, students are enjoying their time here in the plaza. The weather is getting a little bit cooler. It's now autumn, so once March, weather drops down a little bit. Still mild 20s or late teens, but it's kind of cold for compared to the summer that we have here in Adelaide. There's a question here. Do you check your shoes? Always have to check your shoes. Yeah, I actually do check my shoes. Give it a little bit of tap, make sure that no critters goes inside my shoes. Yeah, definitely something to look out for in your shoes.
Perfect. Well, we have about 1 minute left for just in terms of our timing. So if there's any final questions that you have for Francis, those of you who are here, shoot them across. I don't see anything coming in. Francis, is there anything that you would like to leave as your parting note or your parting message to our attendees?
I guess just if you are looking to move here to Australia, just on Adelaide specifically, be open-minded. There's so much new experiences, opportunity for new experiences. There's try new things, be open-minded to meeting different people, different cultures, and trust me, you won't regret it. I think it's definitely such a good personal growth to be able to experience an international student life, especially coming from Canada to Australia. It's definitely something you'll cherish for the rest of your life, being both a student and then eventually if you do want to live here. It's great. It's great so far and I'm loving it. So yeah, that would be my piece of advice. Be open-minded for new experiences.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Francis, for taking the time to be here. That was so enjoyable.
No worries. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you to you as well.
I'm always accessible if you have any questions. I think OzTREKK has my Instagram handle. I know like some people message me through there. So if you have any more questions that you'd like to ask as well, I think if OzTREKK can provide that for me, like just send them my contacts. That'd be great if you have any more questions. And yeah, I loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, thank you so much, Francis. I actually just I put our admissions officer, Laura. So if you do want to get in touch with this, you can reach out to her, shoot her an email, and she'll be able to share, Francis, your social media handle, and so you can follow along with
Yeah, that'll be great.
All right, well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day,
Sounds
Francis.
good.
Bye.